This was my brainchild, and Stuart agreed because he started looking at the numbers. Myself, I run a Twitter chat on Monday nights called Social Chat. One of the panelists is my co-host, Michelle, and she'll do a little bit of an introduction of herself in a minute. And we took it from nothing a year ago, where some other people in the chat said, you guys should start your own. And we took their advice. And some weeks are great, some weeks are not great. We've had audiences up to 800,000 potential reach. We usually have 60 to 100 people participating. Blows our minds. And I think it's a very valuable session to have here. Now, a question for everybody, just to put this in order, before we start the session. How many people in this room have participated in a Twitter chat? Woo! How many? Is there anyone here who needs me to explain what a Twitter chat is? And don't be shy. Okay, Twitter chat is, you pick a hashtag that you research, you make sure it's unique. And then you set up a time and you promote it, and you have a conversation, interactive with people on the chat. And there's usually a host, and you explain who's moderating it, and you just bring people for an hour, a half hour on various subjects. And there's probably a list of about 200, 250 published ones, plus all the ones that people don't know where to publish the names of their chats. So it's, how much? 505 that list is up to now? Yeah. There are 505 now. Last time I looked was a couple weeks ago. I think, well, I did an article a couple weeks ago, and everybody, I think, started registering. I'll take credit for that. Because when I did it was about 255 or 260, so it's...
There is a great big huge on Google.
Yeah. Google Doc, yeah.
I tweeted it out.
Yeah, so there's a lot of great stuff, and the lists grow. And I know when we run ours, when we research, and there was no list, and then we found out we were in conflict with somebody who I always want to go to their chats, but things work. So Jim, he's going to be right back. He's got the slide that'll have some links for
Apparently
you.
it's in the root of the folder.
All right, Jim. Now, once again, Jim Hedger, my business partner, Digital Always Media, is moderating. I forgot to give him a little kudos when he was here, and everyone noticed. He runs a radio show on Webmaster Radio on Thursdays at 2 o'clock.
2 p.m. Eastern.
2 p.m. Eastern. Gets great guests. So when you hear his voice change from when you've been talking about there to on there, that's his radio voice. So let's turn it over to Jim's radio voice, and away we go.
This is my adult entertainment voice. Okay, this is actually going to be a fun panel, the power of Twitter chats. Now, last time I moderated a panel, we did a show of hands, and on the premise that in social media there ain't nothing private. Alan asked how many people have participated in a Twitter chat. I want to take that question a step further. How many people in the audience have businesses that use Twitter chat as a tool to... Okay. Now, to ask the panel, and I'm going to quickly introduce the panel, and if I mispronounce any names, you guys can beat me up later. You would like that? I would. Sam Fiorella.
Okay, it's good.
Sam Fiorella from Sensei Marketing. Kevin Mullett, Cirrus ABS. Way at the end, Michelle Stinson Ross. And in the middle, Judi Samuels from Fairmont Hotel and Resorts. Now, panel again, starting at this end with Sam and moving down the panel. We just got a quick show of hands. I'd say maybe 5-7% of the people in the room. Let's assume that each people in the room is a business entity of some sort. 5 to 7% of the people in this room are using Twitter chat as a business tool. Sam, does that sort of jive with your sense of businesses out there and their use of Twitter?
Yeah, I would say that it's probably representative in terms of the businesses that... There's two ways that a business can use a Twitter chat, so I think that maybe that's an interesting question to ask for those people that are using them. How are you using them? Are you hosting? Are you creating a chat for your community, where you're building a community and giving them the opportunity to engage with you and with each other on a regular basis? Or are you participating in chats as an individual to try and either to expand your brand through your own personal tweets in that chat, or get to hear what people are saying? So I'd like to ask that question. For those of you that did put up your hands, brands using chats, how many of you are hosting your own to create your own communities?
Whoa.
Okay, well that's fine. And those that are just participating for the sake of listening, and so it's about 50-50, which is actually good, but still, in terms of the total number of people, that is pretty I think that's pretty common. Most businesses don't understand the value that Twitter chats have, which is, I guess, why we're talking about this, and I think it's a great session. I'm curious to know what they say, but I think most people that participate in Twitter chats are doing it individually. They think it's just a fun thing to do, and they don't realize the business value behind it.
Judi, when I saw your name on the lineup, I was quite excited because you're director of marketing from Fairmont Hotels and Resorts, and I'm curious, what does Fairmont luxury hotels, amazing hotels? What do you use Twitter chat for?
To be fair, I've been with Fairmont Hotels and Resorts for 3 weeks. So I'll tell you what we're using Twitter chats for in probably another 3 weeks. But what I can tell you right now is definitely want to echo what Sam is saying in that I would say the majority of people who are participating in Twitter chats are individuals who are trying to do a couple of things. One, learn how Twitter works, right? And it's a great way to get engaged with people who understand already what Twitter is and how it works in a community of like-minded people. So I think they're trying to do that. Secondly, I think they're trying to get their own thought leadership out there, their own way of thinking. And at the end of the day, we're all humans and we love our 15 seconds of fame. So if you are able to participate in a Twitter chat and kind of give one opinion that gets retweeted, you feel really good. And I think that's how a lot of people start. From a brand standpoint, we're just starting to mull that over at the hotel right now. It's to really think about the loyalty aspect in that community and how can we enhance your experience, not just while you're staying with us at the hotel, but how can we extend that Fairmont experience for you moving forward? So definitely a couple of options there.
Now, when I noticed that when we asked who's participated in Twitter chats, there was a number of people in the room who didn't put their hands up. So this question is more geared towards them, and I'm going to be directing this one, Kevin. When I first heard about Twitter chats, Kevin, I thought, oh my God, the noise. How can you keep up with this? Now, you've taken the time to code 20 different links or write out 20 different links to different tools that people could use to either facilitate the chat or to help sort the messaging in the chat. And the link is up there on the screen now. Would you be kind enough to guide the audience through what some of these links are?
Sure. I mean, basically what I did was I figured rather than us turning this into a time where we're going to talk about the various different tools, of which there is a never-ending quantity of, I just put up some of the most common ones that people use, and I broke those into several categories. Number one of which is the schedule. So the gal out here mentioned about the Google list. There's a couple of other ones that you can go to, and so if you're going to run a Twitter chat, you should have your chat on there, obviously. If you want to participate in one, you should look there to find out what it is that fits what you're trying to accomplish. The second part is some examples. So I've taken some examples of some Twitter chats that I think are tying in their brand message and or are going cross-platform with it so that you can see that. And then there is just a plethora of various different tools for both managing a chat and also to help you cut through the noise and curate it, regardless if you are just participating personally or if you are actually running a chat. So one of the things that we're going to talk about today is how do you monetize that? And to be able to monetize it, you have to be able to see who is corresponding with you both positively and negatively, and be able to pull those people in, because as Judi said, I believe that the people that are participating have a couple of very specific things that they want to accomplish for their time that they are giving you on the chat. And it could be as simple as a feeling of community or belonging. It could be that they want their 15 seconds of fame, as Judi points out. But you need to figure that out, and I've put some tools in here to just help you kind of weed through that very quickly.
And now, the next question is directed to Michelle. Michelle, you co-host Social Chat, one of the more popular Twitter chats out there. You've been doing it for a year with Alan Knapp. I think one of the things that we've all enjoyed about our careers in the internet is the, absolutely generalizing here, the build it and they will come environment that we work in. We have a number of tools to attract people, of course. We're SEOs, we're social media experts, etc. My question is, how long did it take social chat to start getting traction in its community, and how long would a business expect to start, building their own community and having that community start, interacting with each other?
I think at least for social chat, we saw some pretty phenomenal growth right out of the box. And part of that was because Alan and I identified just a need for this discussion with social media in general growing the way it's growing and changing as fast as it changes. We really needed a place for a lot of social media practitioners to come together and kind of hash out what this looks like as we move forward. And it was from that need that social chat came about, and we were spot on that thought because people immediately took to it. We have a good core group that come every week. They always bring something to it. Yeah, you're looking at the core group, by the way.
And
these are the guys that are here.
And everybody's been a former featured guest as well.
Yes. For other businesses, it's really going to be about the passion level. What is your topic? Why is it something worth spending, an hour a week, every week to talk about? What kind of expertise do you bring to the table that's going to matter to a community to spend the time to talk about it every week for an hour?
I'm going to add a little bit to, great, just to add on to a little bit, Michelle. One of the things that we did, and I can only talk what we did and trying to coach a few other people doing this, whether I'm a thought leader, whether Michelle's a thought leader, is irrelevant to the audience. They're looking at who the guest is. And what we made sure in the beginning, we went out and sought out thought leaders who we had personal contact with. Feature them as guests. Now it's amazing when you have a thought leader who comes on your show who has 20,000 followers on Twitter. Everything they tweet out, and you start getting, what is social chat? Right. We then engage with these people. They were so enthralled, they came back the next week. They started, remember my video from the keynote if you were here? They told 2 friends, because they started retweeting all this great stuff. It's the power, that fire. They were spreading the word. And then came to points, how do I get to be a guest? Give us a pitch.
Now. We're able to reach out to bloggers on, massive sites like Mashable and Ainclear, and just phenomenal bloggers and thought leaders in their own right. And I can reach out to somebody, cold tweet and say, hey, I like what you had to say in this article. It's a very timely topic. Would you be interested in sitting in on a chat with us? They're now pulling up the hashtag, looking at past sessions, looking at our transcripts and going, oh man, yes, I want to be a part of that. And it's because we've built this momentum now.
Yeah, I wanted to add something to what she said. I created a chat called BizForm. It's on Wednesday. It happens on Wednesday nights.
Phenomenal chat.
Woo! Thank you. Yeah. Oh, we got a couple fans here.
Yeah. All right.
That's fantastic. But what I wanted to play up on that, when I created that, and it was quite daunting. We thought about it long and hard. Do we want to create something it's called BizForm, which is really about trending business topics, hashing out trending business topics, which could be almost anything. So as a moderator and founder, you start to get the pressure. She said, what expertise do you bring to the table to add to the community? Mm-hmm. I took a different approach after stressing about it for so long. So I may not know everything, but this is not going to be about me. And that's the thing I've learned about social media in general, that it's about the community. So what I try and do is I play devil's advocate. If somebody says something that I happen to agree with, I'll take the opposite and say, well, that's crap, and how about this? And I challenge them, even though I agree with them. But the point is, it's to put it into the hands of the audience and have the audience come up with a consensus. So if there's anybody thinking that you want to get involved in one, or potentially you want to start one for your brand, you don't have to know everything. What you are really as a chat host is a facilitator. Right, and you're opening it up to the audience, and you learn I know as a moderator myself, I learn just as much as I think, actually, I probably learn more than I give in any one of those chats.
And I put it in as, why does Jim host a radio show? Yes, he's an expert. Yeah, he's on the webinar. Why is he doing it? Is it because he wants to show off his knowledge, or is it to learn and entice guests to share knowledge? And as such, we all learn, and that's part of being social. Remember, we're talking social media. Twitter chats are another medium to engage with people, to develop relationships, and there is a cost, and ultimately, as we heard earlier on today, it has to turn into a profit. You're putting time in there. Maybe only you increase your knowledge by participating, but that is part of your bottom line.
Kevin, I saw that you wanted to make a point about that.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that in that you may have the best guess, and you may have a popular name that you've selected for your chat. But if you do not make that chat about the community, you are either going to require a tremendous amount of churn or it's going to fail. So, no matter what you do, you have to feed, again, go back to something Judi said, you have to feed those egos, you have to feed the people that are coming to that chat and make them want to keep coming and make them want to tell 2 friends and 2 more friends and drag them in. I can't stress that enough that the successful chats that you see are most often the chats that are curated or facilitated quite well. And if you have somebody that's trying to over-police your chat, then they're going to alienate people, and then again, you got to go back and you got to rebuild because they're alienating people.
Now, Kevin, but sounds to me like you were almost describing for want of a better word, a formula. And this is an open question to whoever takes it first. For people just starting, who want to start a Twitter chat, is there a formula that they should follow to ease their transition in and to get their rhythm in facilitating Twitter chats?
I don't think there's any one formula because as Sam pointed out, you may have a different spin on it. You may have a different purpose. But for me, it boils down to how I attack tweeting.
Long day.
Wow. Drive back to Indiana for that. I'll be thinking of that one the whole way. Okay, but it's something that I came up with called the help philosophy, and that is you humanize your message, you encourage conversation, you listen first, and you promote less. If you do that in not only your tweeting, but also in your chats and so forth like that, there's a couple of chats that I'm borderline ready to skip out on because there are individuals that constantly come to that chat, and even the moderator himself, who is constantly cramming his articles down my throat. And people are only going to tolerate that so long. So that's one way to look at it.
Well, actually, that's a really good point. I'd meant to ask about that. You're always going to have one in every crowd. What do you do about that? You don't want to be impolite. You don't want to drive away users, but you don't want this impolite person to drive away users, do you? What are some strategies?
I know. Okay, yeah, I'd like to take first crack at that because I've certainly had my share of those people for a variety of reasons. In fact, I created a blog post highlighting who they are, not by who their names are, but by their personalities. So I called yours, was it the
Hashtag
oh, you saw that one? Yeah. So basically I called them up by their personality types. Is this you? If it is, stop. Give yourself a slap. And but what people do, what you'll notice is that there is an etiquette. Whether it's sort of an unwritten rule, unless you know my blog post, in which case it's official. But it's an unwritten rule that you should not, for example, drop your blog post into the stream. So during a particular hour, there's for example, I'll speak from me personally. Or actually, you know what? No, I won't talk about. I'll talk about social chat. Many times, I'll drop one of my blog posts or another person's blog post into the stream and tag it social chat. But I would never do that Mondays from 9 to 10 Eastern time because I know that that's the official time and that there's a focused conversation going on at that time. So it goes to the point of not, promoting yourself. And I know a few people who do that purposely because they know they got the audience in there and they start talking about themselves. Right? The other thing you do is, of course, is never to, in terms of etiquette, there are going to be, in any chat, there are people of all kinds of experiences. Right? So there are people that are coming to just learn something that they've never heard the term social media before. And then you got big mouths like me that have been at it for a particularly long time. you never get to a point where you say, well, that's really stupid. Why are you here? You always, if there's a particular stream that's going on or a particular conversation that's going on that bores you, move on to another one. Don't start harping on that one person.
So I think that the basic philosophy of participating in any social platform applies to Twitter chats when you're either a host or a participator or an audience member, and that is social media participants do not like the hard sell. And so if you're a participant and you're going in there, there are usually a few things you want out of it. You definitely want to share your thought leadership, and there are ways to do that without being a bloated ego and self-promoting your blog or your business. You want to learn something, get engaged in that conversation, ask questions, answer questions, and help people build on their ideas. And that's really what the chats are there for. So if you're playing on those aspects, those basic philosophies of participating in social, you're going to do fine. And I've seen some hosts do some really kind of good job on taming those egos that will come in and just basically push their blog posts over and over again. And that is just by asking new questions to the rest of the community and ignoring them. And it's, for lack of a better example, it's kind of like, raising a puppy. Those of you who know me will know why I said that. But when a puppy does something wrong, you should be ignoring the puppy and praising the puppy when they does something right. And so deal with the community that's playing right and try to ignore the others. And then the community will self-police as well.
I want to echo that for sure, because as a chat grows, as your community gets invested in that conversation, they'll police that kind of stuff for you. I mean, even as a host, as a moderator, we very rarely have to say, that's not cool, back off. The community itself does a really good job of just letting those things fall away from the conversation. If it's not worth the time to respond to it.
They don't feed the trolls.
No, they don't feed the trolls. And with a really vibrant chat, man, it moves so fast you don't even see them go by sometimes. And if they're being ignored, then bye-bye. You just went flying down the stream and we're talking about something else already.
Now, I don't want to trivialize or sound like I'm trivializing Twitter chats in any way, but conversations are a dime a dozen. We have them all the time. To steal a little bit from Alan's keynote presentation, we're not talking about social media, we're talking about social marketing, and let's face it, we're in business to make money here. There was one speaker whose name I can't pronounce who was on stage earlier saying it's all about profit. I don't know, I can't pronounce the guy's name.
Telia guy?
Yeah, something like that. So let's get down to it. How do you monetize a conversation? What's the goal? What are the conversion points? Let's start with Sam and move down the table.
All right. Well, I guess first off, if you're a brand, it's monetizable. I mean, you don't have to monetize it. There's nothing wrong with just as an individual getting onto a Twitter chat to improve your knowledge of a subject or just to kill some time, have some fun. That doesn't have to be monetizable. But if you are a brand, and whether it's a personal brand or a business, a group of people, you should be looking at setting up your goal. What am I trying to do? As I started to say earlier, are you trying to create a community? So like a lot of people will try and use Facebook and Facebook likes or G+, plus ones, or get a database. That's very passive, right? Creating a community is a very active way of building your database, because you're not just building names that you're never going to do anything with or a bunch of likes that they're never going to follow up on. So it's step one. In my opinion, like when you take a look, if you remember back, for those of you that were here this morning in my presentation, you go from awareness of your product or your brand right through to advocacy. There are many steps along that way, and a Twitter chat can help along that line. Number one, obviously, it'll increase your awareness. Michelle said you get a big name in there with 20,000 followers, all of a sudden, their network. This past Wednesday on BizForum, we had, what was the number, Brandy? I think it was 77 people or 78 people unique people participated during the hour. But because of some of the people we had in there, we reached over 1 million eyeballs in terms of the reach. So a lot of people saw this biz form, and every week we get a couple of more people coming in, and it's growing. And then the second thing is to nurture those relationships. Again, like, think about other types of marketing, not just social media marketing. For me personally, because I do have a consulting business and a software business, what I'll do is people who express an interest in what we're talking about, I will follow up with them if I think there's an opportunity to nurture a relationship. So I nurture relationships for personal reasons after this chat, but those that are business oriented, I will reach out, hey, you mentioned this, can I help you? What can we do together? And sometimes people ask questions and I'll just forward them a couple of other people's blog posts that say, you know what, hey, you said something, I think this is going to be of interest to you. Nurturing. Right, so Twitter chats are a fantastic way to get the beginning of that customer life cycle going. And it's the entry point into that metric and into that measurement. So I would start there, and maybe I'll pass it along if anybody wants to build on. Judi.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing about Twitter chats, which I find particularly useful, so just to go back to like social media 101, social media is not free. There's a huge time investment if you want to be successful as an individual, as a brand. Twitter chats are the same way. If you're going to jump into one Twitter chat one week, you're welcome to decide that that's not for you and then choose another chat. But once you've chosen a community you want to be a part of, and it's a conversation that you enjoy, you should be passionate about it, then you have to go back week after week. And what becomes really interesting with the Twitter chat is not only does it become a community that actually starts to like you and you like them, and you can make real connections out of it, but it's an interesting way to create a social CRM. Because you start to understand the triggers that these other people you're talking to are motivated by. So for example, in the hotel industry, one of the chats that I participate in occasionally is Speak Chat, and it is literally a chat with a number of speakers that come together, and they are looking for ways to, how do I set up my room? How do I project my slides? Those are the types of things. I have a lot of colleagues that I work with at the hotel who have great insight on. And it wouldn't ever be a question of us saying, geez, you should just book at the Fairmont and we'll do it for you, but rather to share and start answering those questions. And as we answer those triggers and nurture that, then all of a sudden, going back to your point, Sam, about creating our metrics, we get some CRM, some real deep insight on the people that we really want to target, and that over time can become very valuable and loyal customers. So for us, there's a lot of opportunity with that.
Kevin, it's a big question, monetizing that.
Yeah. I'll give you two separate answers on this. Number one is monetizing the chat from a company standpoint, and then separately for an individual standpoint, real quick. Number one, from a business standpoint, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to set up a congruent brand across multiple channels. Do not let the conversation that is occurring on that Twitter chat to stop at the Twitter chat. You know, this is social media. Why would a Twitter chat not also have a Facebook page, a Google Plus, page where the conversation can continue, and then also, heaven forbid, like a blog. SEO Chat does this wonderfully. They will do a wrap up of what was discussed and put it on their blog, which, oh my goodness, is fresh content that is, about the subject that they're trying to score for. And there's an opportunity to convert on the best place for them to convert, which is on their website. So, that's the big thing. And everybody up here who actually runs a lot of chats could probably, go a lot farther than I could on that. But that's what I see, is the ones that really catch my attention are the ones that are connecting the dots, just like you're supposed to be doing with normal social media strategies. From a personal standpoint, Sam and I were talking about this last night at the speakers dinner. I can't emphasize enough how big of an opportunity it is for you to start to develop relationships. The reason I'm sitting here is because of the long relationship that I had started with Alan. And so that leads to a lot of opportunity for you. And this is not you coming in and being on a bully pulpit and saying, I know better than everybody else. It's slipping in nuggets that are quality. And eventually people start to recognize, hey, he actually knows something about Google Plus for, brand pages. Hey, Kevin, can you guest on that? Yes, I can, and I would be willing to do so. So don't lose sight of that part of it as well.
For me, the chat is about the wealth of information that comes out of it. Because, yes, it taps into not just the first touch point of the life cycle, but people coming back, continuing to build trust, continuing to get more information. We actually hit them several points along that life cycle. Plus, you do have all of this information that you're gaining that you can turn into blog posts, that you can leave on your Facebook page. There's so many opportunities in that one little bit of conversation to create all types of monetizable content. That's really what amazes me about a really good, vibrant chat, is just there's so much that you can mine out of it. There are nuggets of gold every week.
Yeah, if I can. There's one thing, I don't want anybody to walk away thinking that if you want to monetize social media chats, be it on Twitter, on Google Plus, or wherever, that you have to moderate one, or that you have to start one. Just simply participating in one. Before, I've been doing BizForum for almost a year now, but before that, I participated as a guest in many of them. And if I thought I had something intelligent to say or to offer it, I would have a conversation. Sometimes it's to ask a question. What do you think? I don't understand this. And other times it was to offer an answer. And I can tell you that I can think of two right now, just off the top of my head, two clients that I won as a result of somebody saying, hey, I liked what you said. Can we have an offline conversation about that? And that offline conversation led to an engagement for me personally. So it doesn't have to be just moderating, just participating and sharing. And it's okay if you're an introvert. That's the beauty of Twitter and social media in general, really, that even introverts can get out there. You feel empowered. You're not standing up on a stage and having to engage a room of 100 people. So it works both ways.
And I can back Sam up on that as well. That's not a unique instance. We have also, our company has actually won business as a result of people that are following you and see you participating in that and dropping good information, and then say, well, clearly this person understands what's going on, and maybe that is what pushes them over the edge to select your company versus another.
Okay. We're all marketers in this room. One of the surest measures of success for us is acquiring new clients or customers, either for ourselves or for our clients. But what are other measures of success? Indicators that somebody who started a Twitter chat is on the right path. What are success metrics aside from bringing in new customers? Okay, Judi?
Sure. So just to go back to what Sam and Kevin are saying, you definitely don't. I don't know. Am I the only one on the panel who doesn't host a chat? You know, okay, great. Kevin and I are friends on this one. So you definitely don't need to host a Twitter chat to feel the effects of participating in them. Everyone in this room, yes, we're all marketers. Yes, we all have our own business. We're also all human beings, and we all have our own passions around whatever it is that we like. So we're talking here today about social media specifically and how our knowledge of social has made a difference in our own businesses, but you can do that across any industry. So if I can indulge for a moment in the service industry, working in hospitality, it is interesting to just participate in chats where you're sharing that knowledge, you're sharing that passion, and all of a sudden you start to realize the connection that you'll have with other people. And I know there's a few people I've chatted with over the breaks that feel like I don't have enough to say to participate. So what I find really interesting is if you watch the Twitter chats that you're interested in, and the ones that you're passionate about, people are going to start to ask questions. And in your head, you're going to have an answer. You don't have to answer right away, but over time, I'd encourage you to start with a single answer, and you'll start to feel connected, and all of a sudden, you will start to have your own thought leadership take shape in your own mind, and then start creating those connections throughout the community
I'm
as
gonna
well.
add a comment, just answer one of Jim's. How do you know your Twitter chat's successful? Michelle and I experienced this. We published that we were taking hiatus over the Christmas, January break. 2 Monday nights that we took off. The first and we were tweeting it out, reminding people. The first Monday night, where are Alan and Michelle? So they're on hiatus. They must be taking the day off. They had the chat without us.
Excellent.
That, and then of course, all of a sudden I up and go by my home office and, what? I ended up getting called in just to be, well, we'll just do, an ad hoc one. You know your success when you don't do it and people are missing you. So that's the ultimate, wow.
Yeah. There's actually, that's a great point, but for me, what I look at is the conversations that happen throughout the week. Right, because we have Wednesdays from 8 to 9 is ours, but throughout the week there are people now that are dropping in, articles and questions. Because hey, anybody in the BizForum community know about this, and I don't always answer, but others will step in, and so there's all these new conversations that will happen 24/7. So
and you don't own the hashtag. So the first time I was a little upset when I saw other people using my hashtag. Who are they trying to reach?
Yeah,
then I realized
exactly.
that is someone saying we trust your audience, your followers that you developed.
And you know what's funny? What a lot of times when I'm introduced, because I do a lot of traveling for these things, people say, "Oh, Sam Fiorella, BizForum," right? So all of a sudden they're starting to associate you with that chat, and so from a brand perspective, that's a big thing because they're obviously associating Sensei now with that.
Any questions? We got about 5 minutes.
Yeah, just something like earlier, there's some real gold in these chats, and a lot of times there's stuff in between that maybe isn't necessarily gold, a lot of noise. And I personally have found, and I know I already said Kevin's thing about hash tracking as being one of the better tools in terms of looking at what actually happened. I find curating these things, if you got a really popular chat, to be really difficult. Like, how do you tease out the top 25 highlights of the chat?
Oh my word, you are not kidding.
So any tips?
Honestly, for us, that has been the most daunting task, to curate the information and bring the cream to the top and make sure that our community is served by that conversation in the end. But yeah, there is a lot of noise because there's a lot of people really interested in what we're talking about.
Yeah.
In this Bitly bundle that I put together, there are quite a few tools that I encourage people to at least try, because People Browser, Social Bro, there's another one I can't even remember the name of, but it's in there. And there are a lot of them that will allow you to go through there and filter through, even see a semblance of sentiment that is occurring, and actually get through some of the noise quite quickly.
And not doing that, it's quick. Storify allows you to go through and also you see someone's point that was retweeted 15 times. Go, okay, and you build a summary and you can publish the summary.
Alan does a really good job of that after social chat. What he does is he'll, on the next day, he'll use, it's Storify that you use, right? And he'll actually sort of curate the best and make a story, a shortened story, which is a great idea.
We're into our last 5 minutes, and there's at least 3 more people who want to ask questions. I'm trying to take them in order that their hands went up, so if we miss you, I apologize. This is for the panel. Let's keep our answers really brief and rapid fire.
What are you trying to say?
First off, I just want to say that if anybody here has not participated in a Twitter chat, you should do it because they're awesome. Second off, my directed mostly at Sam, but also to the entire panel. Sam, you and I coordinated in the fall and did a special edition of the BizForum Twitter chat for the college class that I was teaching at the time for marketing strategies. And it was focused, that edition was focused entirely on the tourism industry as it relates to snow resorts, things like that. On that same topic, do you see a lot of potential for sort of very specific Twitter chats highlighted around events or specific topics that might not necessarily be ongoing from week to week, or is the strength of a Twitter chat in its regularity?
That's a great question. There's a certain amount of strength in the regularity because it stays top of mind. It takes time to build up a community, and so if you're just going to do it sporadically, if you're going to tie it in with, let's say, an event, like a conference like this, well, there's some lead up, there's some other marketing that goes around it, so you can potentially get away with doing it one-off. However, I think the strength really is in the regularity. The reason I think ours worked is because we already had a regular following. So when we announced, hey, we're doing a special one on a Monday, because we were trying to help out this college class, we got people there. So no, I do think the regularity, anything about community, I think you need to have that regularity, that consistency.
Perfect example of that is we do, I run our social media breakfast event in Fort Wayne, and we actually had to move it because of a venue situation. We had to move it to the next day, and we literally had like 4 people show up on the day, even though they signed up for it. It was right there. We were tweeting the heck out of it, Facebook, posting. It's Wednesday, it's Wednesday, it's Wednesday. There was still like 4 people that showed up on Tuesday. So regularity, I agree, is huge.
I think we have time for one more question.
It's just a really fast comment. I actually just wanted to add a suggestion in response to Sean's question about measuring some of the results for the tweet chat and understanding, curating the best content from it. I think at the end I've just started to create and moderate tweet chats for my clients, and what I'm finding is I think at the end of the tweet chat, if you ask everyone who participated to favorite their favorite tweets, if they could just go back through the stream in 2 minutes at the end of the chat, then you would have the people participating suggesting their best content for you to curate the next day. Thank you very much. Sparkle Agency.
Can everybody just do me a favor though and realize that even when you use hash tracking, for example, okay, when it gives you the amount of, so many tweets generated this much, okay, please put the word potential in front of that, because just because it, because they're aggregating that based off of followers and their followers, numbers and so forth like that. So please don't portray that as this is how many people actually seen this message. And I only say that because I don't want to have that argument a year from now as these businesses are getting into that and have to explain, well, it's actually not 1 for 1.
So hashtags are kind of like the hits of Twitter.
Yeah,
I like that.
Not quite, but.
Okay.
So thanks. Let's give a big round to these all the panelists here. We're going to switch over. We're going to be talking, how apropos, about measurement, social media measurement. We can bring up Twitter chats again if you'd like. We're up, Richard. This was my brainchild, and Stuart agreed because he started